Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
We are back with our friend Annyx Day, and yes, we are living life above, and that's how you all should be living with your positivity, your energy, your spirit, of course, to guide you here along with your personal goals. Annyx, would you mind introducing yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Annyx, and I'm an RTT practitioner and certified hypnotherapist. RTT is Rapid Transformational Therapy, and I have a Master of Arts Integrated Studies with a work or focus in work organization leadership. I have a bachelor's degree, specialization in communication, and I have a Police Foundation diploma. And yeah, this is what I do. I do RTT sessions for clients who are wanting to live life above. Live, what I mean by that is living, above trauma,
Yep.
drama, anything that's happened to you, the chaos, the even just like
Which,
being stuck, and then
yeah,
moving yourself forward from that.
well, got it. And to find you, the website is?
Livinglifeabove.com, or you can reach me directly at anix at livinglifeabove.com. My phone number is 613-797-8096. I'm in Ontario, Canada. And I'm also on Instagram at anix_day.
All right, well, let's break down some of the personal goals to start with. What are they in a
Yes.
sense? Yeah, let's start with personal goals. I know you're going to help us with that today.
Yes, that could be anything. So obviously, it's personalized. It's very subjective because it all has to do with you and what you want out of life, right? And so it could mean anything from finding a career that you love. A lot of people feel that they're stuck in the career that they're in, and they feel that there's no advancement, or they just go to work because it brings in a paycheck. I hear a lot about that, and it's sad because you live half of your life working.
Working,
And
working, and half of us don't like what we do. I mean, I do, I'm thankful, but I
yes,
gotta ask,
yeah.
you switched careers so many times. Did you love every career, or did you just change because how do you explain that? Because you're amazing.
Thank you. I have had a lot of careers, and there was one that I didn't particularly like, but I knew early on, and I did something about it. I was looking, elsewhere, and things like that. But yes, I did love all of the careers that I have had, and the reason why I kept, moving from one career to another is I found that when I gathered all the knowledge, all the information that I could get from that career path, it's almost like it got too monotonous, or it got boring. And I'm not a person that wants to do boring, like I said, half of your life is working, and you better like what you do and do what you like, because otherwise it affects your personal life, right? Your
Oh, it
personal
affects
goals.
everything. Yeah.
Everything, and vice versa. If you don't like your personal life, then it'll affect you in your professional life. It's intertwined, right? Some people
Intertwines.
can,
Yep.
compartmentalize both, but it's very
Mm-hmm.
difficult, right? And so, to answer your question, I once I knew that I didn't really want to do this for the rest of my life, I chose to look for something else, look for another passion, look for another career. And hence that's why I've had so many careers.
Got it. Well, so you find that passion in the career, but what about finding your life partner?
Excellent. And okay, sorry, but I have to ask. Did you text the first guy?
I not only text, I took it upon because he also offered his number up like 2 weeks ago, but I'm like, I'm not gonna go. I called and I spoke to him on Saturday. So I had like I was the first time I'm ever alone. I was on the way to a job and had time in the car. So I spent a half hour on the phone and it seemed like nice fit. But now since Saturday, we spoke briefly one time and then I'm just too busy with my kids. So
That's
but he
okay.
sounds like a potential like yeah, but again, I don't want to get my
Good.
hopes up. This is super slow. Normally, you talk and it's like I'll see you. We're going on vacation on Saturday, so I'll be gone for a week. So I won't even meet this person for a while. But just it felt good to actually have a conversation with someone who was maybe interested. It was, and I made the
Yes.
first call. I mean, he started the texting part, like to reach out to me to say hi on social media, and then I'm like, should I respond? Should I not? Yeah, and yeah. So yeah. So and I found out, can I just be honest?
Yeah.
Did I joke? I think not kind of joked. It's kind of how I feel. Like, I think I told you last week or the week before, like, someone, if I'm going to date someone, they're going to have to either have kids like me,
Mhm,
live alone,
mhm,
be widowed, like to
mhm.
understand what it's like. I'm not widowed, but we live alone. There's no every other weekend type situation. Be, or someone who wants to, support me to stay home to get enough time with them and the kids. I made like a clear, like, I'm really okay if I'm not in a relationship. I have to be okay with myself, and I am. But ironically, it's so sad. His ex passed away. He has an
Oh
18-year-old
no.
daughter. He wasn't with her when she passed. They were already separated, but he's been raising his daughter since she was like 6. So I'm
Wow.
just thinking, you think positive, like maybe he can empathize what it's like to have a child. I mean, she's older now and blah, 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 but still, I'm just looking for someone to empathize on the same level. Okay, back to finding your personal life partner, which we're going to work on that in 2 weeks when we come back.
But hang on.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay,
We'll
so
talk
I'm
more.
so
Okay,
glad.
okay.
I'm so glad that you contacted him. That's awesome. And I would be very hopeful as to him, being able to empathize for sure, because you can only really empathize when you have gone through something, or somebody close to you has gone through the same thing, and then you've been their support, right? So
It's
you
true.
you really understand. So I definitely say that he could,
Potentially
obviously empathize. So
understand because
that's
it's
yeah,
me and my kids 24/7.
yeah.
Be lucky if I get out for babysitter. If not, it's mostly family things. And that means less
Yeah.
alone time, less intimate time, less, but
Mhm.
whatever. Or I'll say, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking.
And it's interesting because he probably wanted the same as well, right? Because somebody who has gone through, such heartache, um, wants a partner who understands them,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I
Again, won't
wish
get
you
my
all the
hopes up,
best.
but yeah, thank you. We'll see. Thank you. Thank you.
That's going to be awesome.
Thank you. Send energy my way. Yes.
Hmm. Absolutely. Okay. And sorry. So what was your
That's okay.
question?
I don't remember what we were talking about. It was a question. You were
Well,
on
we
the
were
path.
talking
We were
about
on it. We were on
personal
a
goals.
list. Where's my list?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Finding a life partner, become an expert
Yes.
leader in your field, exercise. We're
Yes.
going to talk about monetary goals, all that. Go
Yes.
ahead.
Exactly. So again, it's all subjective to what your personal goals are, right? And they may vary all depending on, your age, right? Because let's face it, when you're in your 20s, your goals aren't necessarily the same in your 40s or 50s or 60s, and so on and so forth. So, you have to really understand yourself, and where you're going in life, where you do want to go in life. And so therefore base your list on, what comes up, what you really want. And so RTT can help with that because we can explore, the things like finding a life partner. So why is it that you haven't, not you, but why is it that you haven't been able to find a
Yep.
life partner? Why is it that you haven't been able to exercise or, reach those monetary goals? And so we can explore that and help you with that. So the transformational recording would, encompass all of those beautiful things, because I do ask the client, okay, so because during the discovery call, the first portion of the discovery call, I ask you questions, and basically the client tells me what they don't want in their lives, right? I have this, and I'm sick and tired of this, and I'm tired of this, and I've been dealing with this for such a long time. And then so the other half of the discovery call, I ask, okay, so tell me what it is that you do want. And then you'll find clients, they're like, hmm, I don't know. I know I don't
Makes
want
them
what I
think,
just
well, what do we,
explained,
yeah, they
right?
don't, maybe sometimes people don't know, right? I
Yep.
mean, yeah.
And that's why I tell my clients, okay, now I want you to shift your way of thinking, because essentially that's what you do when you're listening to your transformational recording, right? After the RTT session. And so I tell my client, okay, so now let's shift your way of thinking. Tell me what you want. And then so some people are able to communicate that right away, and then others have a difficult time explaining, expressing themselves, or even they've lived in such a negative, world that for them positivity is foreign to them, right? So they don't understand, well, what is it that I do want, right? So anyway, so it's super interesting to see and to develop from there.
Okay.
And then so going into professional goals. So very similar, but for different reasons, right? So if you don't have your dream job, a lot of people, you would have to look for that dream job and then go through, to the interviews. And a lot of people are hesitant when it comes to interviews. They're either scared or, they don't like to talk about themselves. And let's face it, interviews, it's all about not boasting what you've done in, can I say a cocky way, but you're expressing it in a comfortable, confident way. This is what I've done, and this is, lessons learned is, this is what happened to me, and this is where I can apply in this position, right? So it's all about finding that confidence, that self-esteem, and letting it shine when you're speaking about yourself during interviews. That essentially, like, I know a couple of people who have recently gone through interviews, and they were anxious about, oh my God, I don't really want to talk about myself. Or,
Mm-hmm.
and I remind them that the panel is just as anxious as you, but in a good way, because they want you to succeed, right? They're looking for the best candidate, even if they're interviewing 5, 10, 20 people. They are looking for the best candidate who presents themselves in the best way, with confidence and self-esteem. And, that it's felt in the room, right?
Yeah.
When somebody's
Mm-hmm.
confident. So that's what I mean. So interviewing skills to get your dream job, to get that job that you really, really love doing, or that that you're gonna love doing.
Yeah.
So I can help with that for sure.
Can
Or
help
teach.
with a
Yeah.
lot.
Yes.
Livinglifeabove.com,
Yes.
by the way, just in case you're tuning in and you're like, who's this talking? What's going on this podcast today? Yeah, Annyx Day joining us here again. It's Living Life Above. I always like to point that out
Yes.
more than once, more than twice, more than like 5 times. So we're talking about our personal goals, our professional goals, and how we can get there with the help of a hypnotherapist. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking out. RTT. Oh my gosh,
Yes.
rapid transformational therapist. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Exactly. Thank you. Again, thank you for having me. And this is our last Zoom. This is, well, our last podcast, but this is, yeah, this is the last Zoom.
I'll
I
miss you.
know.
I'll miss you.
It's
But
gone by so
we never say
quickly.
goodbye. It says until next
No,
time, but we'll connect again, I'm
exactly.
sure. Good
Yes,
energy
for
always
sure.
does. All
Yes.
right. Now help us get where we need to be because not everybody can. Yeah. Come on. We need your guidance.
Yes, for sure. So even finding new challenges. So I'm speaking about professional goals. Even, finding new challenges in your role. What if you really like your position, but you feel like it could be better, right? So again, exploring what is it that you can do. Even just communicating with your boss, with your superior, saying, I'm super comfortable in my roles and responsibilities. Is there something else that I can take on to either increase my abilities or prove that I can do this and I can advance in even a supervisor role, or whichever that may be. It could also be, expanding your professional network. So the more people that you speak with, usually the better it is, right? Because the more people they know people, and so on and so forth. So if you're looking for a specific job in, let's say, an organization, you can network. You can speak with people and say, hey, I'm in this department. However, I'm really interested in your department. And, are there any openings? And, you go from there. Yeah.
All right. And, for someone who may have had, okay, for example, I have a cousin who I just saw actually on Mother's Day. She came to town from California and she works in the television business as a producer, a low level producer, but she's always moving jobs.
Okay.
And now she spent about a half hour with me, so how miserable she is at this job and how her
Oh, no.
boss doesn't like her. Oh, and then her coworkers, and I'm just like, I've heard this before. I've
Mm,
heard this about 4 or 5 times. And she's been in California now for 10 years. And I'm like, huh, makes me start to think. And I know my cousin well, and I honestly think it's a lot to do with her. But I don't think she owns any of that accountability or doesn't get it yet. And how do you tell her as a cousin, as a friend, like, maybe you should try something different? Maybe it's your attitude. Maybe
mhm,
it's your, like, yeah,
mhm.
yeah. I'm sorry, I'm just digressing, but yeah, it happens.
No, no, please. I love when you bring up scenarios or situations, or when you ask me questions, for sure, because we're able to relate to those,
Yeah, I feel like she's never getting to that professional goal because there's something wrong because she wants
Mhm,
to be here and she's always been here and she's already
mhm,
43, I guess, but like,
mhm,
and I see the same stuff happening.
mhm.
But
Because there is a shift that everybody needs to do when they're moving up, the hierarchy in any organization. And a lot of it has to do with introspection,
Yep.
right? To look at oneself. And yeah, how is it that you tell someone that? You're lucky because it's your cousin, right? It's family. So, well, it could either go
Yes
it could
and
go either
no.
way, right? It
Exactly.
could
Yeah.
You would have to inquire how open she is, to just exploring herself, right? Because the thing that you may be able to point out is, what is the common denominator? Maybe not say it in such a way, but if she's experiencing the same situation, but in different organizations, maybe it is her, right? Maybe
Mhm.
she needs to look at herself and what she can improve on, what's going well, but what also she can improve on. Um, it's like somebody, stuck in a position and they want to be supervisor, they want to be a leader, but yet they're not quite demonstrating those leadership
Yeah.
skills and roles and just abilities. And it is hard to say, let's look at maybe, why. Maybe it's your attitude, maybe it's your motivation, maybe it's, you just not being open to the feedback. So it is a tricky situation, but you would have to have a serious conversation with her and kind of, you know, feel out feel out to begin with if she would be open to having that conversation. And obviously if she would be defensive, then that's probably not the right time to have that type of conversation, because then she'll take it wrongly, and then that may create a rift in your relationship with her, so it's a tricky situation. It
It
is.
is, but
It is.
also I tell her to do more like everyone's talking about LinkedIn, to network, to outreach, right? And that's part of another thing that you mentioned too, like getting on LinkedIn or getting networking in a sense.
Hmm. Yep, absolutely.
And what else would you say to someone who's trying to work on that professional goal that hasn't maybe, gotten there yet?
Definitely, I would say, work on your education skills, work on your education status. So, because
Time
a lot of
management
people,
too.
yes, time management as well. Because a lot of people want to be, let's say, in leading positions, but yet don't necessarily have the credentials to, not to back it up, but to use as an example of, yes, I can hold this job because I've done this, right? Um, but also, yeah, like you mentioned, time management skills, because everything is all about time. You can't buy back time, right? You cannot, and you can only utilize your time in the best way possible.
No,
Prioritization, right? Holding a schedule. Like I'm old school. I still have an agenda,
I love
like a
it.
paper agenda. I don't use my phone for
Hmm.
that, just because I'm tactile, right? I like to have paper format. But even just a to-do list,
Yeah,
for the weekends, like just even like that, that is creating for yourself good time management skills. And yeah, just to work on that. Take courses, ask people. Like I said, network, ask what they've done. If you meet somebody that's in the role that you wish to
hmm,
fulfill, don't be afraid to ask. Oh, I just thought of something too. When you're doing an interview and let's say you didn't get the job, it's absolutely okay to ask for feedback. And honestly, it's a humbling experience. I've done it. I've done it before, a couple of years back when I applied for a specific job. I didn't get it, and I was upset because I thought I did well. Yet I, swallowed my pride. I asked for feedback, and it helped me immensely because I realized that I wasn't answering the question the way that they were looking for,
yeah,
because a lot of it is, it's like writing an essay in university. Give them what they want. you
exactly.
know your opinion matters, however, give it in the sense, in the structure and the context that they are looking for, right? Same thing in an interview.
It's so true. Yeah.
Present yourself, however, make sure that you're answering the question because they're looking for specific criteria, right? It's almost like a checklist,
Hmm.
yes, that person answered that. Yes, that person meets these requirements. Yes, that person demonstrated that they have these skills and abilities. It's the same thing, right? So asking for feedback, and and that goes for anything, right? Like in a relationship, and even just like a
So true.
daily work activities, how am I doing? Something like that. Like just asking for feedback and being open to that
Open
feedback.
to it,
Yeah.
exactly, and willing to try something new, which is always something we always have trouble with, trying something
And
new.
actually, I just thought of something.
What?
You can maybe say that to your cousin. Are you open for,
Yeah.
to feedback? Because I'm here for you. I care about you, and I've listened to you, speak about your previous experiences and how you would like to be here, but you're here.
Here. Yeah.
Like, are you open to feedback? And
Okay.
then, see what she says. If she says, well, what do you mean? Say, well, are you open to somebody else, like an outsider kind of looking in, right?
Exactly. And what
And
about
so go from there.
we all want to be leaders. We got to work on becoming a leader as well. So what would you say about leadership and that factor and improving work-life balance before we go?
Work-life balance is tough too.
Ah, it's a hard one. We need a whole
Leadership,
show
yeah.
on that. No.
It's just leadership. Wonderful topic. Obviously can't be done in 2 minutes, but I did my master's degree in that because leadership has always um, kept me curious,
Mhm.
And number one, I would say lead by example.
Okay.
Definitely lead by example. Because if a leader is telling you to do something, but yet is doing the opposite, you know the old saying, like, do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
That doesn't really work if you're wanting to be, a great leader. So demonstrate what you're looking for, but also, talk the talk, walk the walk, right?
Mhm.
Also learn from great leaders. You can choose who's a great leader. You can Google great leaders, in history and stuff like that, or even in organizations, or whoever that may be. And not necessarily mimic what they've done, but at least learn what they've done.
True. Mhm.
Learn from the best. Learn from who inspires you. And yeah, there's so many things that we could do, to be great leaders, but definitely, do something that you love doing that something.
Yep.
Lead by example, inspire people, and yeah,
And live
but
our
yeah,
best
work
life,
life
and that's what you're here
balance.
to do.
Yes, exactly. Work life balance. That's tough because some days, you feel like you have it. Some days you feel like you
Yep.
don't. And
So
that's
true.
absolutely okay. That's absolutely normal. Some people really don't have work life balance. So if you
No.
think that you do, at least appreciate that you do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And
Thank
if someone
you.
does want to reach out to you, would you mind sharing how we go about doing that for our free consultation to see if you could help us with that work life balance, climb up that ladder?
At livinglifeabove.com or at Annyx, it's ANNYX at livinglifeabove.com, 613-797-8096, and on Instagram at Annyx_day, or be at the women's show on
Ah, tell us
October.
more
I know, I
now.
can't wait. I can't wait. It's going to be my first, well, I rented a booth because it's like a huge event, right, for the weekend. And, but it's my first event as an RTT practitioner. So it's going to be super interesting, and I can't wait. I can't wait to meet so
Awesome.
many people. So yes,
Thank you so much. Pleasure
thank
having you here.
you.
Living life above all. Hopefully, we'll reconnect again soon somehow,
I
right? In
hope.
some way.
I hope.
Thank you. It's
Absolutely.
been a pleasure,
Take
really.
care.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.